tourist hotspot turned symbolic cemetery. The beautiful beach at Copacabana, Brazil at sunrise, marked by 100 graves dug by protesters critical of the government's handling of the crisis and paying tribute to the more than 40,000 Brazilian lives lost to COVID-19. Later, a man stormed the site, destroying the graves. Conflict within another divided nation. COVID in America, the new prediction from the CDC about the death toll heading into the summer. More than a dozen states are seeing an increase in the number of daily deaths from the coronavirus. The governor of Florida says the increase in cases in his state is not related to the reopening, and the new guidelines on how to stay safe. Standoff in Seattle, the growing tensions in that so-called autonomous zone. Some of the protesters now armed, with authorities retreating from the police station in that zone. We're live at the scene. Police under scrutiny, with departments all over the country facing criticism. A look at the latest efforts to hold officers accountable, plus the cancellations of TV shows like Cops and Live PD. We'll explore. And while many are calling for the removal of Confederate statues, we'll take a closer look at just how many of those monuments there are. And if journalists write the first draft of history, find out how we can all have our voices heard to get the story straight in this historic moment. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Calls for social justice have been so loud, so piercing in the past few weeks that for many, the coronavirus pandemic has merely become background noise. And yet, in many communities, it rages on. In fact, in some parts of the country, it may only be the beginning. States like Florida and North Carolina are reporting a record number of cases in recent days. And in places like Nashville, a rise in cases there is causing officials to delay plans for reopening. And with summer now upon us, as many Americans return to travel and their regular routines, the COVID-19 death toll predictions continue to mount. Our Victor Kendo leads us off.
Tonight, that sobering new warning from the CDC. The coronavirus could kill up to 140,000 Americans by Independence Day. A new analysis from ABC News finding daily deaths are increasing in 13 states and hospitalizations are on the rise in at least 8 states. Florida seeing its second straight day of record cases. The governor blaming the surge on increased testing in nursing homes and agricultural communities, not the protest or the reopening.
We're doing 3 times as many tests a day now than we did at the end of March.
But one expert in Florida disagrees.
The real thing that's going on is we are opening up the economy and not everyone is following the new normal guidelines. That's a problem.
Florida is preparing for a number of firsts. The first live major American sport to bring back a select group of fans will be NASCAR. They'll be racing here at the Homestead Miami Speedway this weekend. Miami's beaches will be open for the first weekend in months. Tonight, Oregon is pulling back from easing restrictions after a record jump. The governor now delaying reopening applications by a week.
We don't make the timeline. The virus makes the timeline.
In Harris County, Texas, which includes Houston, hospitalizations are the highest they've ever been. The sharp increase attributed to Memorial Day gatherings and young people protesting, according to the governor's medical experts.
Some people don't know that the coronavirus is not gone, and they're treating it like it's gone.
Another hotspot, Arizona. The state reporting a record number of new cases. 45% of infections are people between the age of 20 and 44.
What we have is actually a lot of micro epidemics occurring across the country, and each one has their own drivers.
And in Missouri, weeks after these massive Memorial Day pool parties in the Ozarks, a second visitor now testing positive. There is a bright spot in New York tonight, once the epicenter of the pandemic. The governor saying the state has the lowest rate of transmission in the country.
Now is no time to forget what got us here. We have to stay smart.
And Victor Akendo joins us now live. And Victor, we saw a bit of defiance from some people in South Florida earlier this year. Many of them, though, were spring breakers. What's the feeling there now? Are people heeding the warnings for the most part?
Well, Lindsay, speaking from my own personal experience and from what I've been told, it kind of depends on just where you are in the state. Here in Southeast Florida, specifically in Miami, I'd say people are a little more likely to follow the guidelines. But if you travel to some other spots, like maybe the West Coast or some places up north, you might not see as many face coverings or as much social distancing. The big test for Miami is coming up this weekend. It will be the first weekend that Miami's beaches have been open in nearly 3 months. We're definitely expecting some big crowds. Lindsay?
All right, Victor Akendo for us. in Miami. Thanks so much, Victor. And moving now to Washington, as cases of COVID-19 rise across the country, President Trump is still planning on holding a campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma next week on Juneteenth. So what does Dr. Anthony Fauci think about holding a rally during this time? Our chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl caught up with him and has more in this report.
As the president prepares to hold his first political rally in months, the government's top expert on coronavirus has a stark warning. Attending a rally is risky.
The best way that you can avoid either acquiring or transmitting infection is to avoid crowded places, to wear a mask whenever you're outside.
Dr. Fauci is equally blunt in warning those who attend protests around the country.
When you start to chant and shout, even though the instinct is to pull the mask down, which you see, don't do that, because there is a risk there, and it's a real risk.
Even as there are clear indications of increasing infections in several parts of the country, Dr. Fauci tells ABC News he hasn't met with the president in over a week. And the message from the White House today is that there is no increased threat.
I spoke to our health experts at some length last evening. They are saying there is no second spike. Let me repeat that. There is no second spike.
But those attending the president's rally next week in Oklahoma must accept these terms, saying they won't sue if they get infected with COVID-19. The date and venue of the rally is also getting a lot of criticism. It's on June 19th, a day commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S. And it's in Tulsa, just blocks away from the site of what is believed to be the deadliest incident of racial violence in American history. This isn't just a wink to white supremacists, tweeted Senator Kamala Harris. He's throwing them a welcome party. The president defended the planned rally in an interview with Fox News.
Your rally in Oklahoma is set for June 19th. Was that on purpose?
No, but I know exactly what you're going to say. It wasn't done for that reason, but it's an interesting date, but it's a celebration.
And Jonathan Karl joins us now from the White House with more. John, we heard those dire warnings in your interview with Dr. Anthony Fauci. Does the White House or the task force have any new plans to deal with the growing number of COVID-19 cases across the country?
Well, the president, as you know, has talked about being able to go out there and put out the embers, but I don't get the sense there's much new planning going on. In fact, the attitude from the administration, as you heard in the comments from the president's chief economic advisor, is that there really isn't a spike to be dealt with right now. And the president has also put much of the emphasis here on the governors, saying it's their responsibilities to make the decisions about reopening.
And switching gears here for a moment, we're getting a new look at the book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton. What have you learned about it today?
Well, Bolton's publisher has put out a press release that includes some quotes from the book, some characterizations. Pretty interesting here, Lindsay. Let me read you just a couple of them. The release says that what Bolton saw astonished him in his service as National Security Advisor, a president for whom getting reelected was the only thing that mattered, even if it meant endangering or weakening the nation. And here's a quote from the book: "I am hard-pressed to identify any significant Trump decision during my tenure that wasn't driven by re-election calculations." He also suggests that the Democrats made a fatal mistake in the impeachment hearings by focusing so narrowly on Ukraine when, and this release says, when Trump's Ukraine-like transgressions existed across the full range of foreign policy. Now, Democrats might point out that they tried to get Bolton to testify, and he said he would only testify under subpoena, something that would have led to a long court battle, as you know. He also, remember, Bolton served other Republican presidents. He served George W. Bush. He served George Herbert Walker Bush. And he said the differences between this presidency and previous ones I saw were stunning. The release says he shows a president addicted to chaos, who embraces our enemies and spurs our foes. In other words, this may just be a long way of saying I don't think that the White House is going to like this book.
That's one way to put it. Okay, Jonathan Karl, we appreciate it. Some damning allegations there. We appreciate your reporting tonight from the White House.
Thank you.
And back to the coronavirus. For more on this rise in cases and what we can expect moving forward in this pandemic, infectious disease Dr. Todd Ellerin joins us now. Some epidemiologists are attributing the increase in cases to states loosening stay-at-home orders and public gathering restrictions. With the curve never fully flattening, are we potentially setting ourselves up for a bad fall when other respiratory ailments kick in?
We definitely are, Lindsay. Remember, we know what causes transmission. Large crowds, mass gatherings, people close together, not socially distancing, not wearing masks. As we see cases going up, and more importantly, hospitalizations and deaths going up in certain states, very concerning. And as fall comes and we're expecting other respiratory viruses, this tale of two viruses could be deadly.
And we just heard from the White House administration that they said that they're not expecting a second wave. You disagree with that?
Well, it would be unusual. Most pandemics that we've seen in the past century have had second waves. I expect it. Are we seeing one right now, or is this a continuation of the first wave? Some of that may be semantics. The bottom line is we're seeing more cases, more hospitalizations, more deaths. There are about 1,000 patients, Americans, dying a day from COVID-19. We need to do better.
NIH Director Dr. Anthony Fauci warns that attending political rallies is, quote, risky, yet President Trump plans to hold his first rally since the pandemic's outbreak next week. What's your advice for people who are hell-bent on attending a rally or attending a large gathering in general?
Right. I mean, rally at your own risk. Remember, you're getting into a crowded place. Lots of people. There may be people with chronic conditions, the elderly. You really have to think twice about going there, especially if you have chronic conditions or are elderly. Also, really important to wear that mask. If we're opening, studies have shown that masking reduces viral transmission. It slows this virus.
And you've worked with COVID patients for several months now. What would you say that you've learned most recently about the virus based on seeing firsthand how it affects people?
Yeah, this is a really wily virus. I would say the two problems are the amount of inflammation that patients can get, especially those patients with metabolic syndrome, diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, chronic heart disease. So it really becomes very inflammatory and can be deadly. The other part is the emotional toll. It's that you have patients that are hospitalized with COVID-19 and their family members can't visit unless they have critical illness. That type of separation that we know is important to prevent viral transmission has taken a real emotional toll. It's a tough combination.
Dr. Ellerin, thank you as always for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Next to the showdown in Seattle, as we've been reporting, protesters in that city continue to hold on to a so-called autonomous zone, an area of several blocks where demonstrators are trying to keep police out. The area has largely been peaceful, but what happens next is anyone's guess. Our chief national correspondent Matt Gutman is in Seattle with a closer look.
Black Lives Matter! Tonight, thousands of protesters on the march in Seattle, many hoping to reclaim their message.
I feel like it's been hijacked. The message is totally gone on why we were protesting in the first place. Black Lives Matter. I want our movement back.
Since police boarded up and retreated from this police station, some telling us too much focus has been on the siege of the station and the so-called autonomous zone created around it.
They want to scream at the cops and raise a ruckus, but no one wants to talk about how we need to have housing, jobs, and abilities.
Is that message lost out here?
Lost, completely lost.
Protesters seem to be digging in. There are medical tents, free food, even portable toilets. The night's chaotic. Some people armed.
What's going on? The guy with the Glock is running. Cops are here.
It was a false alarm. Police were not there, but arsonists were, setting fire outside the station. Organizers like Raz Simone helping to put the fire out. Simone carrying that fire extinguisher, but also a gun.
Yeah, because I'm peaceful, not harmless. So that's the thing.
Peaceful, not harmless.
Yeah.
All right, so show us what you got. It's strapped to your leg.
Yeah.
Police have said they're still responding to 911 calls, but it's taking 3 times longer. The president again warning he may take action.
It's pathetic. No, we're not going to let this happen in Seattle. If we have to go in, we're going to go in. One way or the other, it's going to get done. These people are not going to occupy a major portion of a great city.
And Matt Gutman joins us now with more. Matt, where does this go from here? I mean, it doesn't seem like these demonstrators will be able to hold on to this area indefinitely.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think they want to. It has taken a lot of work for them to stay here. But, I mean, you can see behind us there's this sort of community that has sprung up. There are even portable toilets, medical tents, food. But the question is, what do they want to achieve? And the Black Lives Matter organizers tell us they don't want to take over a police station. They want to work with the police and reform the police to make people's lives better.
And Matt, you've of course been there a few days with protesters. What sticks out to you the most in your conversations with them?
Well, there seems to be a bit of a split between the organizers. There's some anarchist elements here who are all about taking siege and laying siege to the police station, and there are Black Lives Matter and African-American organizers who are here saying, hey, we want to create systemic change. And I think the most important point is one that you heard by that gentleman, Sean Gaston, in the piece, who's saying, we don't just need to change the way police work in America. We need to change fundamentally the economy for African Americans. We need better housing. We need economic stimulus. We need jobs. And listening to him, that certainly resonated with me and created a round of applause to everybody who was around us listening as well. Lindsay.
All right, Matt Gutman reporting in for us again. Thanks, Matt. The George Floyd protests are certainly putting the spotlight on policing across the country. Departments all over are under the microscope like never before, criticized for overreacting to the protests and in some cases for not doing enough. You'll remember yesterday we showed you these Chicago officers. Officials blasted them for lounging around on the job. Our Stephanie Ramos has the latest on the Chicago mayor's response.
When Congressman Bobby Rush showed Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot these images, she was outraged.
We should all be disgusted. And we should all feel hurt and betrayed.
The still images from surveillance video show officers lying down and browsing their phones. More than a dozen cops relaxing inside Congressman Bobby Rush's office during protests as a nearby shopping plaza was being looted.
They even had the unmitigated gall to go and make coffee for themselves and to pop popcorn.
Police union leaders telling our Chicago station WLS that the officers were asked to protect the office by Rush's staffers and that the officers were told to make themselves at home. The congressman telling WLS that isn't true. And while these officers are under fire for allegedly not doing their jobs, many other officers around the country are coming under attack for trying to do theirs. But more examples are coming forward that show alleged police misconduct. The LAPD says they are investigating at least 56 allegations of misconduct by officers during protests. And reforms are coming quickly around the country, too.
Congratulations, the bills are signed.
In New York today, the Reverend Al Sharpton joining the governor as he signed a series of reforms into law, including banning chokeholds by police.
And Stephanie Ramos joins us now live. And Stephanie, there's been new, let me change that. I just want to say there have been, okay. And Stephanie Ramos joins us now live. Stephanie, there have been new developments surrounding the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville with regard to police reform. What can you tell us?
That's exactly right, Lindsay. So Louisville, Kentucky just passed legislation banning no-knock warrants named after Breonna Taylor, who was fatally shot in her home by police. But now Senator Rand Paul is trying to pass a bill that would ban these types of warrants across the country. And right now this bill has bipartisan support, Lindsay.
Stephanie Ramos for us in New York. Thanks so much, Stephanie. We turn now to another political race that is heating up, the battle for Kentucky's Democratic Senate nomination. The winner will face off against Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's won that seat in every single election since 1984. Joining us now is a candidate who recently won the endorsement of Senator Bernie Sanders, Representative AOC, and two of Kentucky's most widely circulated newspapers, Kentucky State Representative Charles Booker. Thanks so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with your recent endorsements by your party's leading progressives. Your opponent, Amy McGrath, a retired Marine fighter pilot, is supported by the National Democratic Party, the establishment, if you will. Which endorsements would you say carry the most weight in your community at this moment?
Well, to be honest with you, the momentum we're building on the ground, this movement that's people-powered, is really being bolstered by the support in Kentucky from folks that you wouldn't typically expect to go against the big money candidate. And so having the Herald Leader and the Courier Journal, the two big anchor institutions for journalism in our Commonwealth, endorse, and all of Democratic leadership in the House, as well as labor, has really meant a whole lot, because it's making it clear this is about Kentuckians. And then the national support is just icing on the cake to see that people all over the country understand this fight that we're waging here for our future.
And we talk about fight. I mean, you've been fighting poverty and racial injustice a long time. That's been your core mission. Are you finding that more people are receptive to this particular message in this moment of unrest? And is that helping your campaign?
It is. We're dealing with a pandemic, and a lot of people are facing a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, and they are dealing with a lot of situations that are very similar to the struggle I've grown up in. Unemployment is hurting a lot of people right now. But in the neighborhood where I live, unemployment has been close to 30% for years. And that, in addition to all of the racial tension that we're seeing now, the injustice happening not only in Kentucky, but across the country, I think it's opening the eyes of more people to see how interconnected we are and that we need to stand together. And that's exactly what we're doing in this moment and in this campaign.
And of course, your platform is a progressive one. You support Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, and a universal basic income. How do you convince your state, which Trump carried by 30 percentage points in 2016 and Mitch McConnell has won 6 times, that this is the right direction?
Well, we don't have to convince anyone. This is really a matter of listening to Kentuckians. We have been ignored for a long time, and essentially my entire life. Mitch McConnell was elected 2 weeks after I was born. And no one cares about our concerns. No one asks what we want. They tell us what we want. And when you sit down and listen to people in Kentucky, I'm in Eastern Kentucky right now, and when you talk to miners, they want to do other things. They know those co-jobs are leaving. They want their livelihood. And they're excited about the idea of a Green New Deal that would mean clean water, sustainable energy, more good paying jobs, better infrastructure. So it's really about peeling the politics back. And, my message is very populist, which speaks to a lot of folks from all different walks and various ideological and political spectrum, because poverty is pervasive. And when you speak to that struggle, because I've lived it, we're able to build a new type of movement of regular folks that realize we can't play politics anymore.
But you see how divided Washington is. So do you think that these progressive proposals would ever get through Congress?
Well, we are dealing with divided times. We got to be clear about that. And, we know it well here in Kentucky. I'm in the state legislature. We had our own mini Donald Trump and Matt Bevin, the last governor, till we got rid of him. And I know that there's a lot of work ahead. But the truth is, especially in the Senate, Mitch McConnell blocks a whole lot of what happens and what doesn't happen. And removing him will allow a lot of progress immediately. But you got to note that the energy that we're seeing, it started with protests, like here in Kentucky and in Louisville with Breonna Taylor. Cries for justice have evolved into conversations about structural change, and people are rising up all over the country. And so I'm going to Washington with a big coalition that will not accept the status quo. So we're going to get a lot of work done in short order there.
And speaking of Mitch McConnell, what do you think your chances are of unseating him realistically? And if you did, what would that mean for your movement?
We're absolutely going to beat him. That's the small part. The big part is once he's gone, how do we get about the work of ending generational poverty? And I can speak with such confidence because I know what Kentucky is made of. And we do not like Mitch McConnell. He has been screwing us for a long time. The issue is that he is...
But let me just interrupt for a second, because if you don't like him and he's been, to use your words, screwing you for a long time, why has he won year after year after year?
Part of it is understanding our history. Kentucky has been one of the most disenfranchised states in the country. Turnout is typically low. People are dealing with a lot of poverty, and so they're too busy trying to survive than worrying about corrupt politicians. And he's been in office for so long, and the Democratic Party has tried to challenge him only by playing this political game of running to the soft center and saying that you're going to be a pro-Trump Democrat, and people don't buy that BS, and they've given up. And so my campaign is speaking to Kentuckians and saying that we're going to do things differently. We're fighting for us for a change. And because of that, we're building the momentum to win, and we're listening and elevating the voices of regular people that never get heard. And so we will absolutely beat them. And then we're going to get on to the big work of transforming our future.
Representative Booker, we so appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And when we come back, the growing fire threat out west. We'll tell you exactly where. And we're learning more about the injuries suffered by that Buffalo protester pushed to the ground by police. But first, two prominent shows involving law enforcement now canceled. How this may impact future TV and movie productions.
Most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Now, with so much on the line, ABC News, America's #1 news, is right there for you live on Hulu with stories of strength, stories of hope. Because now, when it matters most,
Hulu has live news.
Hulu has live news.
Hulu has live news, and that news is ABC News.
ABC News Live on Hulu.
ABC News Live on Hulu.
Watch the news you need.
Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Streaming to all Hulu subscribers right now.
From inside our homes to your home, now is the time. We all just need each other. And that's why we love starting the day together with you. We'll see you in the morning on ABC's Good Morning America.
Welcome back. The 75-year-old man who was shoved to the ground by police in Buffalo has suffered a brain injury. That's according to his lawyer. Martin Gugino has been hospitalized ever since the incident, but is starting physical therapy, which his lawyer says is a step in the right direction. The two officers involved in this incident have both been suspended without pay and face charges of second-degree assault. They both have pled not guilty. As the protests against police brutality and excessive force continue to rock the nation, the long-running series Cops and now the top cable show Live PD, well, they are both being pulled from the airwaves. Critics say that it promotes a skewed view of policing, promoting the negative aspects that many are now calling to change. Those opposed to the cancellation have called it an overreaction. Our Steve Osinsami has more.
For more than 3 decades, police officers on the hit show Cops have been entertaining Americans with high-speed chases, police arrests, and signature songs. Drug busts, alleged drunk drivers, all arrested on camera and reaching massive audiences. At its peak in the 90s, Cops was pulling in nearly 8 million viewers an episode. But times have changed, and on Tuesday, the Paramount Network decided the show was being canceled. Protests that have filled American streets in response to the death of George Floyd in police custody have television executives seeing the show in a different light. The long complaint is that the supposed hero police officers on the program are seen too often tracking down and arresting black Americans. And to some, it feels like sport.
Well, it depicted black communities as folks that needed to be controlled.
Rashad Robinson is the president of a group called Color of Change. In 2013, they convinced executives at Fox Network to pull the show from the air after 25 seasons. It then moved on to syndication.
They went into some of the most targeted, the most exploited communities and brought cameras and put people on display, and then they made profit off of it without ever having to be accountable.
And now Live PD. Like Cops, it was hugely popular, the highest rated show on A&E, and the network is saying the show will end. In a statement, A&E responded to the news saying, going forward, we will determine if there is a clear pathway to tell the stories of both the community and the police officers whose role it is to serve them. The show ran for 3 hours every Friday and Saturday night with live cameras set up with police departments across the country. We spoke with the sheriff of one of them last year who told us that the program made his officers local stars and helped improve relations with his community.
I just knew that people needed to see what we see every day, not just a snapshot, but actually see the funny stuff, the dangerous stuff.
The show took fire this week after it was revealed that their cameras were present during this deadly arrest last year in Austin, seen here in this police body camera video. The show is on hiatus and never aired the video. Television executives are now reevaluating their commitment to this kind of programming.
This is a watershed moment for networks and for TV creators who are reconsidering the role that TV about police plays in the way Americans understand the role of police in everyday life.
All right, thanks to Steve Osinsami for that. And joining us now to talk more about this watershed moment is media and pop culture expert John Murray. John, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Anytime, Lindsay.
So Cops it's one of the very first reality TV shows, and while it's drawn many people to the profession, the show has been criticized for distorting that reality through the lens of entertainment. Would you say that that's a fair assessment?
Absolutely, Lindsay. You know, there was a documentary podcast called Running from Cops that was really able to uncover some really nefarious actions going on behind the scenes with this show. From them doing unethical things like not granting people their bail until they signed release forms to appear on this show, to them using excessive force just to make sure that the show was more enticing, and also doing some things that were considered unconstitutional with their level of force and the way that they manipulated storylines with alleged criminals. And so that type of behavior being shown on television and the influence that we know that Cops has had with other people wanting to be cops, it was the blueprint in teaching people all the bad ways about the police and how they operate. And so because of that, the show had to go.
And also talking about this show, Live PD, the show's creator and host Dan Abrams, who's also the chief legal analyst for ABC News, he defended Live PD, differentiating the show from Cops. Take a listen.
Cops was a show that provided a highlight reel of amazing moments that happened in policing. And, you know, there were a lot of complaints about Cops over the years. I have to tell you, we didn't get a lot of those same complaints. Why? Because we were live. We were showing the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. We had a really diverse group of police officers who were out there doing the hard work that police officers do every day. But look, we also have to accept that this is a new time. And what I had been hoping was that Live PD could have become a great venue for a national discussion and actually action. Actually see change implemented.
And John, would you agree with that it matters how the story is being told, or is it the same type of glorification that people are so critical of?
Well, it definitely matters how the story is being told. And listen, I have great respect for Dan Abrams. I love his legal mind. I love all his contributions to ABC. But here's the truth, Lindsay. You know, when Bill Cosby's sexual assault revelations were made, his shows were pulled from TV. That just didn't affect him, but it affected the cast and everybody was attached to him. The same with Stephen Collins on Seventh Heaven, when it was revealed that he had underage sex with underage girls. His show was pulled from TV. And Harvey Weinstein, you know, his company and every business venture that he was attached to went bye-bye. So the unfortunate thing is Dan Abrams was producing in a genre that people just don't want to see right now. It is a day of reckoning for people of color, and police-involved shootings with unarmed people of color, Black people in particular, because this moment is about us and Black Lives Matter. Unfortunately, he was a casualty of that. And I hope that Dan will continue producing content, and maybe he will find another way to tell the story of police that's more healthy and not reflective of the bad things and the trauma that people are experiencing in America.
And let's talk about Gone with the Wind, for example. HBO Max has taken it down, but today filmmaker Spike Lee told our colleagues on The View that films like Gone with the Wind and Birth of a Nation should be seen, citing a slippery slope of removing these films from catalogs, but suggesting a notice of context before the film. In your opinion, what's the right way to do this?
I think Spike is on the money with this. You know, when we go to watch most shows now, Lindsay, we get a disclaimer of the nudity, of the language, of the violence. And I think now networks have a responsibility to do a disclaimer during these shows to say, listen, this was not done in proper historical context. What you're watching, please look at it through a lens that's appropriate for its viewing pleasure, because these are historic works and people should be able to view these things, but you should know what you are signing up for. You know, when there was a Scientology documentary on A&E with Leah Remini, and in between and out of every commercial break, they ran these disclaimers telling you the other side of the story. And so I think we have to reshape the way we look at these products and how we offer them to consumers.
And just a couple of days ago, the co-creator of Friends said that she regrets the lack of diversity in that show. And the irony being that Friends is sometimes called out for borrowing from the show Living Single, which featured, of course, 6 Black friends in New York City and premiered the year before Friends did. Have we seen a change, would you say, in the 25 years since shows like this were popular?
We've definitely seen a change. And listen, Friends was to Living Single what Elvis Presley was to Little Richard. Like, sometimes we just have to call a thing a thing. And listen, one of my close friends, and I got permission to tell this story, Sherry Shepard, former co-host of The View, she was one of the few black faces that was on Friends. Her, Aisha Tyler, and Gabrielle Union. And Sherry was on Friends at a time where you sent out postcards to let people know, hey, I'm going to be on TV. And on her postcard, she sent out a color photo of herself, and she said, Friends gets a little color. Well, she also sent that photo to Marta, and she got the postcard and was never asked back on the show. So I don't know how oblivious she is to the fact that she didn't have a lack of diversity and she wasn't aware. I think when you know better, you do better. And I hope moving forward, she makes better decisions to be more inclusive and diverse in the actions that she chooses and the projects that she chooses to produce.
When you know better, you do better. That is for sure. John Murray, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate having you on the show.
Anytime.
And still have a lot to get to here on ABC News Prime. Jazz musicians, they have survived decades of struggles, but between the pandemic and the recent unrest, this year has been particularly challenging. We'll explain. And how many Confederate statues are actually out there across the country? The numbers may surprise you. But first, our tweets of the day, celebrating love and the breaking down of barriers on the day when interracial marriage became legal. Little Anita Baker for you there.
In times like these, the news-making events happen here. ABC News.
President Trump meeting face-to-face with one of the world's most brutal dictators, Kim Jong-un.
The president.
Do you trust him?
I do trust him, yeah. I think he trusts me, and I trust him.
Ivanka Trump.
I have to ask you about your emails. Your father had taken Hillary Clinton to task for this.
There just is no equivalency.
So the idea of lock her up doesn't apply to you?
No.
Comey.
How strange is it for you to sit here and compare the president to a mob boss?
Very strange.
Michelle Obama.
What do you wish you could tell your pre-White House self?
Melania Trump.
Do you think there's still people there that he can't trust?
Yes.
Still working now?
Yes.
Michael Cohen.
So he's still lying.
Yes.
It's a big statement.
And now, in a year with so much on the line, we're right there.
Good evening tonight from Washington, a very busy news night.
America's #1 news source, ABC News, straightforward.
We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. No bull, no spin. Now, imagine getting your news like that. Just give it to me straight. ABC News, straightforward.
Another week in America, a country facing a new test now.
The Wuhan airport, almost no one here.
The last flight out of Rome.
This is the nursing home just outside Seattle.
Dozens of people were just rushed off this cruise ship.
This is ground zero.
It is shut down.
Another ambulance just pulled out.
Now they're headed to the hospital.
Time is of the essence.
You can see the ship behind me.
This is the first time tests have been done here.
Morning, afternoon, evening, late night, 24/7. ABC News, there for you.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, free on Apple Podcasts.
And welcome back, everyone. 150 years after the end of the Civil War, and we are still in a heated battle over what to do with the symbols of the Confederacy. For some, these monuments represent heritage and history. For others, they symbolize racism and white supremacy. The majority of them were put up half a century after the war ended during the Jim Crow era of mandated racial segregation. So tonight we take a look at these Confederate symbols by the numbers. There are currently 1,747 Confederate symbols in public spaces across the United States. That's according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. This includes 780 Confederate monuments. 103 public elementary and high schools are named after Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis, and other Confederate icons. 80 counties and cities named for Confederates, and 10 U.S. military bases are named after Confederate military leaders. But at least 114 Confederate symbols have been removed since 2015. And that number is growing in the wake of the death of George Floyd. Just one example, NASCAR this week announced that it's banning the Confederate flag from its events. But taking down Confederate memorials is not an easy task. At least 7 southern states have passed historical preservation laws in recent years that make removal or relocation of these monuments more difficult. And we still have lots to get to here on Prime. How do you ensure that history is recorded in the right way? Coming up, the extraordinary efforts now underway to make sure that the events of this year accurately represent how it impacted all and not just some. The lawsuit filed over the right to play video games. We'll explain. But first, here's some of the trending stories on abcnews.com.
Right now, this is part of the eye wall.
This procession of migrants goes back 2 miles.
There is going to be catastrophic damage.
This fire has made a run. You can see those flames shooting up into the sky.
We are on the jam-packed red carpet.
To the right, guys.
So this is the 4th weekend of protest.
Watch ABC News on location for Facebook Watch.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
The Americans here on the ground and the Iraqis. 18,000 tons. Patatas. Ismail? David.
Over ground zero from Hurricane Michael.
You can see just home after home.
David, good to meet you.
This was your view.
My favorite view.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Centers for Disease Control out with a dire warning today, predicting we could see up to 140,000 deaths in the U.S. by July 4th, with more than 20 states plus Puerto Rico reporting an increase in cases.
We saw our single largest spike yesterday in the state of Florida of about 1,491 cases.
Arizona's health workers say ICU cases are putting hospitals at near capacity. There's also concern that protests from the past few weeks could usher in a new wave of cases.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo signing an executive order on police reforms, banning chokeholds and repealing a measure that shields some police records from public view.
It is systemic discrimination and injustice in this nation. That's what it is. That's what today is about.
She will never be forgotten.
And in Louisville, Kentucky, City Council unanimously passing Breonna's Law, a ban on no-knock warrants, named in honor of Breonna Taylor, who was shot and killed while sleeping in her apartment by officers who burst in.
The apparent reversal by Starbucks today, after a company memo appeared online in which the coffee giant reportedly banned employees from wearing Black Lives Matter shirts and paraphernalia. Starbucks now saying they can and showing off this design, which will appear on 250,000 t-shirts provided to staff in the U.S. and Canada.
This is not funny at all.
Dave Chappelle is speaking out on George Floyd's death with a surprise special titled 846. In his signature Raw delivery, Chappelle weighs in on the unrest in our country.
What are you signifying? That you can kneel on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and feel like you wouldn't get the wrath of God. That's what is happening right now.
With the addition of temperature checks and social distancing, the nearly 30-minute long special is available on YouTube and Netflix. A first in The Bachelor's 18-year history. Matt James will be the show's first ever black leading man when they return for a 25th season. The show has been criticized for a lack of diversity.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't think it's ever the wrong time to do the right thing.
Rachel Lindsay, the first and only black female bachelorette on the show, praised the move while calling for more to be done, saying, quote, "It feels like a knee-jerk reaction and a result of societal pressure."
A high school student in Japan is suing for the right to play video games as much as he wants. Right now, a local law directs parents to limit their children's gaming time to an hour on weekdays and 90 minutes on weekends. If the 17-year-old wins, he will be one of the few people in Japan to win a constitutional challenge to the country's laws.
Welcome back. We are monitoring some severe weather this evening. The Carolinas could be in for more rain after all this flash flooding yesterday. Some areas seeing half a foot of rain. But the good news is that the flood warnings have expired and most of the rain is expected to fall offshore. Meanwhile, the West Coast could certainly use some of that rain as dry and windy conditions are creating a fire threat there. Red flag warnings are in effect for several states and some fires have already been reported, one forcing evacuations near Tucson, Arizona. We have, of course, been reporting extensively on the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 and police brutality on communities of color, but who's making sure that the often dismissed experiences are not lost from our history? This week, the National Museum of African American History in Washington began collecting signs, artwork, and stories from the protesters outside of the White House. And as our Devin Dwyer reports, there's a broader effort now underway to ensure that the voices of all Americans in these historic times are recorded for generations to come.
In order to live and survive and get past what's happening, you have to be strong. You have to be resilient. You have to be positive. You have to know that this too shall pass. You have to look at your history.
For Diana Hall, lessons from the past are often only as good as what was recorded in the present.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
Amid protests for justice and equality after the death of George Floyd and a deadly pandemic still ravaging her hometown, Hall wants to make sure history gets it right. She shared her story as a D.C. public school teacher during the crises with the Smithsonian's Anacostia Community Museum.
The history of what I went through is documented somewhere for my great-grandchildren to go look at. And that, in and of itself, just thrilled me.
The museum's Moments of Resilience project, part of a growing global effort, gathering photos, artwork, poetry, and journal entries.
There is this sense of urgency because of these current events that are happening around us. And so 8 to 10 weeks in, it is really important for us to begin collecting these stories because as the country begins to open back up, a lot of those stories will be lost or forgotten.
Much of American history has been told through the lens of white men. Minority experiences, like the slaves who helped build the White House or the Japanese Americans who endured internment camps during World War II, often glossed over or ignored. Historians are now working to make sure this moment is fully preserved from all viewpoints.
The benefit is that we get the human dimensions of the crisis. We see the human face on the unemployment line, if you will.
A worldwide repository built by a team of universities, a journal of the plague year, gathering more than 5,000 pieces so far, many showing the double impact of COVID and civil unrest.
Archives contain vast silences. They don't tell us the story of non-elites, folks outside the middle class, folks who aren't white. They may touch on them, they may hint at them, but we need to do a better job. We've said to ourselves, we want to recognize the diversity of the American experience.
Images, audio, and video capturing this unprecedented moment. One family showing how they now hose off before going indoors. Another sharing the power of painting together while sheltering in place. There are scenes of protest, New Orleans city waste collectors demanding PPE. Homemade crafts like this cross-stitch offering reminders about personal hygiene and biases. A journal entry from a Vietnamese American healthcare worker recounts her frustration, describing microaggressions based on my race, saying just because we're Asian does not mean this pandemic is our fault. And there are voices from afar. Army Specialist Vincent Jochev writing from Afghanistan about the stress of watching his country in turmoil. Everyday Americans with earnest stories. StoryCorps founder Dave Isay says the conversations we're having also need to be preserved.
It's no politicians, it's no famous people, it's just regular people talking to each other.
StoryCorps capturing hundreds of people telling their own stories in their own words, archiving them at the Library of Congress, the largest library in the world.
This is really just about generosity and love, so you can hear that in the voices. I mean, when you listen to interviews between two bus drivers or, the people who are working, frontline healthcare workers talking to each other, just the PTSD, the devastation, how, there are many people whose lives have been rocked in ways that are, incomprehensible to others.
Florida postal workers Yvette Jourdain and Craig Body sharing what it's like to deliver the mail.
I pray on my way to work. I pray on my lunch break. I pray when I'm at the box. What keeps me going is the fact that I need to keep going.
That's one of the tough things with coronavirus. We're like a lifeline, getting these people their medicines, their supplies.
Independent photographers capturing the stories too. James Trudeau tests COVID samples at a Baltimore hospital by day. After hours, he picks up his camera to document scenes he says many people might overlook.
I saw this gentleman on a bicycle just like leaning up against a telephone pole, and he said, I have to ride my bike everywhere. I have to ride my bike to go grocery shopping and pick up my medication.
He would normally take the bus,
right?
Or he would normally take a car.
Right, and right now all the transportation is for essential workers.
His images are simple but captivating, a tapestry of resilience and resignation in extraordinary times. Trudeau says he's donating his photos to the Maryland Historical Society.
What do you hope people take from this?
This is not the way things are supposed to be. Having to worry about going to work or, not being able to see your loved ones.
So never forget.
Right, exactly.
To remember and to learn, all of us have a part to play.
Keep that journal that you've been doing. Keep that picture that your child drew that you probably put in your window. Take a picture of that chalking out on your front lawn. Keep all of those things because those will be important as we continue to tell this story.
Making sure the history books reflect a history as diverse as we are. For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Washington.
Our thanks to Devin for that. And still ahead, the power of music getting us through challenging times. Stay with us.
From inside our homes to your home, now is the time. We all just need each other. And that's why we love starting the day together with you. We'll see you in the morning on ABC's Good Morning America.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner of 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, including the most prestigious honor, Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news choice.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source from ABC News. Breaking news, live events, streaming nonstop. Original breakthrough storytelling from ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, and it's all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want.
ABC News Live.
Streaming everywhere, right to you. ABC News Live. It's that easy to go there.
Now, with so much on the line, ABC News, America's #1 news, is right there for you live on Hulu with stories of strength, stories of hope. Because now, when it matters most,
Hulu has live news.
Hulu has live news. Hulu has live news. And that news is ABC News. ABC News Live on Hulu.
ABC News Live on Hulu.
Watch the news you need.
Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Streaming to all Hulu subscribers right now. ABC News, America's #1 news source. Straightforward news, straight to the heart of the story. ABC News, straightforward.
Many in America's jazz community might as well be singing the blues these days as they face tremendous obstacles due to COVID-19. ABC's Kira Phillips with the moving look and listen at how some are trying to preserve this rich national legacy.
It's been the soundtrack to our lives. Sounds of freedom, surviving decades of struggles, expressing emotions from pain to sheer joy.
Jazz has survived so many struggles.
It has. Jazz has gone through everything that we've gone through as people. I mean, all of our highs, all of our lows, it expresses it with the note B flat, the note E, all of that, you know. And it's an honor to perform it. It's an honor to tell that story.
Ain't no power like the power of the people. The most recent stories, the death of George Floyd and calls for justice, and a pandemic that has devastated minority communities, taking with it music legends emblematic of that struggle. For Sean Jones, jazz isn't just a profession, it's personal. Yes, he tours, but he also teaches.
Bo, ba, ba, right?
Preserving the legacy of jazz here at the Peabody Conservatory, located not far from Baltimore's famous jazz district, where clubs like Keystone Corner are usually booming with bent and blue notes. But for now, coronavirus has redefined jazz's call and response.
We've lost now more than a dozen jazz greats to COVID-19, many more within the jazz community.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of heroes, and I heard a quote the other day that every time you lose a legend, you lose a library. Just speaking to those folks, just hearing the stories, what's gone down over the years, hearing their songs, we can never get that back.
That's because Sean either knew or shared the stage with every legend lost to coronavirus. Grammy-winning virtuoso Wallace Roney, pianist and composer Ananje Allen Gums, even the great Ellis Marsalis.
Take a look at that list of musicians there. And as you look at those names, tell me what goes through your head and your heart.
Wow, joy and sadness all in one. I'm looking at my mentors. I'm looking at my friends. I'm looking at inspiration. I'm seeing stories. I'm seeing Bootsy Barnes in Philadelphia when I was a grad student, and I would go up trying to play Cherokee, and he would tell me how sad I was. I hear Ananje's voice on the phone when I recorded a song called Allison, telling me that I have integrity because I didn't play a solo until the very end. And I see Lee Konitz walking into Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola just to hang out and eat a cheeseburger. And gosh, Ellis Marsalis. I see myself with a group of young musicians in San Francisco after we just left the stage, and him telling us stories about when he struggled in New Orleans trying to play music in the 70s, and now we get a chance to play in this big, beautiful hall.
Rich stories that might have never happened. You see, there was another deadly virus that struck the jazz community more than 100 years ago. The 1918 influenza pandemic. It tore through New Orleans, and by some small miracle, there would be a 17-year-old musician who would survive it. His name was Louis Armstrong.
What would have happened to jazz if Louis Armstrong died in that pandemic?
Wow. What would happen if salt was never part of the equation of food? You wouldn't know food the way that you know it now without that element, without salt. Louis Armstrong is the salt of jazz. He's the foundation. So imagine something that important not existing. Would you have elements of the music? Sure you would, but that spirit wouldn't be there. It'd be a completely different thing.
And jazz master Todd Barkin should know. The legendary club owner, jazz curator, and Grammy-winning record producer has seen it all, but never anything like COVID-19 and the impact on these musical masters.
They were great teachers and reachers and preachers in our music, and their message is always with us. I mean, we have to live what they imparted to us. We have to live their lesson. or we're not doing our job.
The job of keeping alive the roots and the rhythm. It's more than a passion for Sean Jones. It's a calling.
As a musician, it is my duty to tell the story of COVID-19 sonically, to express the pain that folks are feeling right now, to express the tears that are shed, the anger, the loneliness, the depression. Jazz is going to get us through this in the way that it always has. It's going to allow us to be who we are, unapologetically. It's going to allow us to cry. It's going to allow us to talk to our neighbors again, to dance. That's what jazz is going to do. That's what all music is going to do. It's going to help us survive.
And we all need something to help us survive these days. Before we go tonight, the image of the day. Graduates, start your engines. Graduating seniors from one North Carolina school drove across the finish line to get their diplomas at a special graduation event at Charlotte Motor Speedway today. Speeding to their diplomas instead of checkered flags. Hats off to them. And that is our show for this hour. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us, and have a great weekend.